So welcome to the OpenJ9 community call. A reminder to add your name and company affiliation to the minutes. No lightning talk schedule. So just if anyone has any suggestions for lightning talks or wants to volunteer to do a lightning talk, please let us know. Open up the user raised issues. So OS name not returning Windows 10 was a regression when we switched to Visual Studio 2013 for Java 8. So that's fixed and hopefully is promoted by now, and we'll see about getting into the release stream. There have been a few people who are asking us to put the shared cache into a different directory under home, like a .cache directory. So something we should consider for a future release. Obviously not going to happen for 0.26. Crash on Zython. Yeah, so there's a very simple Jython hello world test case you can run on the 11.0.10 build, and it crashes on AIX. When I tried the milestone build for 11.0.11, it didn't crash. So I did see there was some fixes in the area of the crash to creating strings. I'm hoping that's resolved the problem, but I don't really know why it was crashing originally. So the fixes weren't necessarily for a crash running Jython. Does anybody have anything else they want to discuss for user-raised issues? I should check to make sure. Can anybody hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Great, thanks. Always nice before you talk for half an hour to know that somebody else could hear you. So a reminder about help wanted, which, what did we do? We renamed beginner to good first issue.
Yeah, so I opened up pull requests on 2 of those sites and they both got merged. So there's a link at the bottom there I added up for grabs so you can search the project names. And the other one was on goodfirstissue.dev. So that one you can search us as well. There's another one, goodfirstissue.com, but that one seems to be an automatic aggregation, and I still haven't seen our projects on there. At one point, there was OpenJDK test issues on there, and now I see there's like OpenJDK infrastructure. So I'm not sure how it works, but it doesn't seem to work well. So got 2 of them anyways.
Last week, I did see somebody asking to help out on one of our issues. I don't know if it was related to what the changes that you've made, but
yeah, I guess we wouldn't know unless we asked them. So, but it doesn't hurt to have it.
nope. Okay, so the download trends. No, we don't seem. Oh, there we go. Slow, but working. So for OpenJ9, down a bit, but not horribly. Certainly Hotspot hasn't jumped up a lot, but hasn't gone down like OpenJ9, but doesn't seem like anything to be too concerned about here. Okay, so our next release, 0.26. We still have 17 things in the milestone plan, so we are asking, most of them are JIT. we're asking the JIT leads to take a look and move out things when possible. We're coming up to April 2nd. April 2nd is Good Friday, which is a vacation day or holiday. If we were going to put anything else in, we'd like it to be sooner rather than later. Milestone builds, or we'll do all the testing on the weekend of the 3rd, the 4th, and then tag for milestone 2 for the 5th and get the milestone 2 builds started. But we do want to have things pretty much locked down. No big changes, no risky changes. So I expect most of these things in the milestone plan should move out. So CMake, we did enable Windows 32 in the 0.26 release. Unfortunately, we enabled it without actually putting in the changes that made it work, but that's fixed now. I know we're still waiting on profiles for the mixed builds. So that takes us to the adopt update, where I see somebody's typing.
It's always me, last minute. So I'll finish typing that after I speak. Yesterday, we noticed there were issues with the Jenkins server upgrade that happened the previous night. So thanks to Stuart for putting in a lot of extra hours to deal with the problems related to that attempted first upgrade. I think things are looking a lot healthier right now, but you may or may not. I think we've buffered the OpenJ9 builds well from going and fetching anything directly from the server now. So I don't think you would have noticed a break in service there. The transition to Eclipse, many people will have seen yesterday, press release went out to announce the formation of the Adoptium Working Group and the founding members. So there are lots of articles and tweets and blog posts related to that announcement. So I'll put a link to a few of them in here too. Other than that, I guess the rest of the transition, we're still only at 10 repos moved over of the 23 that we intend to, although a few of the repos that we were going to transition over, I think we'll just create from a fresh copy, and that includes the API repo. So I do want to call out that there is going to be an open conversation about how the API can evolve going forward. And that's happening in the build Slack channel, and there's also a pull request that John Oliver has that's inviting people to make comments and give feedback. I think that's probably it for now.
Okay, thank you. Anyone have any questions? If not, we'll move on to machines.
Not much to say. We had the Arch machine go offline last night, so Joe rebooted this morning. And the Artifactor space is at 82% last update I saw, so I think that's comfortable for now. We did increase it back to 35, and it's gone up for the past couple of days, so it should have stabilized around 80% now. So keep an eye on it.
Sounds good. Babneet, did you have any updates about the OpenJDK method handles?
Can you hear me, Peter?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so I think it's the same as last week. We are working to address functional failures. The JIT team is working towards attaining better performance. And I think we have pushed few fixes last week, and the number of failures are going down as weeks go by. This sums up my update. Back to you, Peter.
Okay, thanks. Devin, any updates on CMake?
Yeah, I have the ZOS stuff now compiling. I'm just working through the last issue of there's a couple of source or library files that we're not putting in where the OpenJ make files are expecting them. So it's just a simple error of failing on a copy. So I just need to rework the directory structure a little bit just to make that work properly.
Okay, great. Sounds good. Making progress. Anything on the cross compiling, or that's deferred?
It's deferred for the moment.
Okay. Marius, anything about Helms and operators?
So release 0.25 is not supported for Java 8 and Java 11, and therefore there is no 0.25 container in Docker Hub, and therefore we will not have a help chart for the 0.25 release. When the next list is coming, we will have one. So that's one thing, and the other one, the blog on help chart was published.
Sorry, I missed the last bit.
The blog for the help chart has been published. Last time it was in draft mode. Now it's live.
So that's at the OpenJ9 blog site?
Yes, yes.
Okay, great. For MicroJit, we're assuming the next meeting is tomorrow. Yeah.
Yep.
How is MicroJit coming along? Is it making any progress, or?
It's slowly, but yes, it does make some progress, and there is a PR that is waiting to be merged. So I guess we'll discuss or we'll contact Darrell for that PR to be merged. It's in OMR.
Micrometer metric support, is that new? Is that also you, Marius?
That was
No.
Dan. Dan had put a note in there and actually has done some PR for Micrometer to add support for OpenJ9. He got some of the GC team to review things, I think.
Yes. Now it rings a bell. Okay, well, Dan's not on the call this week because he has a conflict. We were going to look again in April once all our time zone changes have finished and meetings have stopped moving around to see if we could find a new time for this meeting.
Mm-hmm.
So the last thing, unless somebody has something else, there was talk on the Eclipse mailing list about issues related to GitHub Actions, because although open source projects may not have time limitations, there are concurrency limitations. So that reminded me that we have our own org for Eclipse OpenJ9 called Eclipse OpenJ9, but we haven't tried to move anything over to that new org yet. So maybe it's time to start doing that. I mean, not right now. I'm thinking we would start doing that after we get the 0.26 release delivered. So I think what can happen, and Shelley, you might have some information on this, the repo can be moved to the new org, and then you get redirects from the old links. So
Yeah.
People may not have to do anything. We might have to change anything. We'll just have the repos appearing at the new org.
Yeah, that's correct. It actually seems to work very well. We've done it now as part of this Adoptium transition. The redirects are pretty smart. So yeah, I agree. I think especially the repos that have a lot of GitHub workflow or in plan would make sense to move over.
So for build OpenJ9, I don't know that we have any dependencies on that for the release. I don't even know that we're depending on that for the linter builds.
You're not. So
Yeah.
I was going to say that wouldn't have to wait. We could try moving that over. And I think that would be non-intrusive and wouldn't break anyone. So
Okay, so I put a link to the Eclipse bug. I can either add something to the Eclipse bug to ask Eclipse to move it, or you can do that if you want. If you're
yeah, I don't mind to update it.
okay, and
That
we'll
would be good because at present the nightly runs of Build OpenJ9 have stopped because we are now sharing and the limit is completely reached. So if we move it
So-
over, that should start us having nightly builds again. We should revisit that schedule though, to optimize the use of those minutes.
So we do have a minute limitation. It wasn't clear that we did.
Yeah, we've hit it.
Okay.
And so the other thing, I'll tack on to this is it's actually remarkably economical to up the minutes, and I'd be willing to put in personal dollars to help with that. So to up the minutes, I think it's a few $100s to go from 2,000 a month to to 50,000 or some high amount, 10,000 or something. A lot more for very little, as part of a yearly plan. So might be worth considering as a project if we do hit that limit. But yeah, let's get Build OpenJ9 moved over first and then see when you want to move other things if you do want to.
I suppose we could, I don't know if it's the appropriate site, but there are sites like GoFundMe
Yeah,
or other ones I've seen people use. I suppose we could look for donations to the OpenJ9 project to get us more minutes.
that's right. I'm already donating the blog site, so we'll throw in a few dollars for this. We should be able to get it figured out. Okay.
Okay, and somebody's added, does JIT server still require OpenSSL 111B?
As in require, no, we can work with any OpenSSL from 1.1.0.0 to 1.1 whatever. So it's not a requirement. Any OpenSSL, any recent OpenSSL.
So there's a playbook at Adopt to install 111B. So if they remove that playbook, do we guarantee that there's still some random version on the machine, or should we still be installing that A version?
If we install a version, it should work.
Right. So we might as well leave the playbook there for now then.
Should we not update it to 111J like we're building with?
We could.
I think that's a good idea because all the older versions, or most of the older versions, have known security vulnerabilities. So just to take any of those off the table, even if we're not shipping it, if we're always using the latest, we're not going to have any issues.
Okay, I'll respond to Stuart. Just say we don't need that version, but we should update to the latest version because we still need to have a version. Not entirely sure why he was asking. I would assume he's doing some kind of cleanup or something. It says right in the task that it's specific for JIT as a service. So.
Do we have any other business? If not, our next call is next Wednesday at the same time. Thanks, everyone.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Bye.